Welcome to the SNA Live podcast, hosted by the Hardway. This is for the culture. Black and Latinx, where you at?
Yo, what's good, cigar fam? It's your boy C-Way, and welcome to SNA Live, the show not just about cigars and cigar lounges, but life in general. Because if you're in a nice-ass cigar lounge with your peoples and only talking about cigars, then you missed the whole motherfucking point. We're recording live as always from Smoking Ashes, Cigars and Haberdashery,
yes, sir.
The hottest cigar lounge in these United States. With me as always are my partners in crime. We got the GM, we got Leaks. Say what's up to the people.
Yo, what's good,
What's going on, fam?
Don't forget, we can now be seen on One Institution Media's platform as we are now a part of the OIM family. Today's episode is episode number 14.
14?
Season is flying by quick. We're calling it ACCESS. ACCE $.
Period.
Essentially, what we're going to be talking about in this episode is the lack of access that our people sometimes have to the more expensive sports. We're talking golf. We're talking tennis. We're talking gymnastics.
Yeah.
We're talking hockey. Fuck it, we're talking lacrosse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
fencing.
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
It's a sport.
Facts.
And not every kid gets that access.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. So we're going to be talking about our own personal experiences with respect to our children.
And playing sports.
And getting them into those sports. We're going to be talking about examples of athletes of color that have made it in those sports. The ones that are more prominent, and maybe some of the ones that maybe not as prominent. As usual, we're going to be bringing back our segments, the notable mention, and we're going to be talking about what we're rocking with this particular week. And with that being said, as usual, cut your stick, light them up, and let's get it popping.
Welcome to SNA Live, a podcast like no other. Featuring three the Hardway. You want it, you got it.
Yes. We are back, episode 14, ACCESS. Or I should say 14, in rep for Puerto Rican Day that just passed. But all ACCESS, we are talking about Boricua. But we talking about youth sports and the gift or the curse. So now is the perfect time to get your stick, get your seat, get your drink, and let's rock. Yes, sir.
Episode 14. Let's do it.
Don't get it twisted. This is a very important topic.
Yeah, no, definitely is.
It's something that kind of gets spoken about, but I don't think a lot of people have access to the information to know the difference.
It gets spoken about when the outlier shines. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have the person that's like, oh, wow, this person's doing this, that, and the other. And it's like, yeah. But you do understand that there are hundreds, if not maybe thousands of kids that want to get into that sport and can't, simple for the fact of lack of resources.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But as usual, before we get into our topics of this particular podcast, we got to talk about what we're drinking, what we're smoking. Leek, I'm going to let you set it off, brother. What you smoking today?
So today, I'm smoking the Mumbacho Diplomatico. This is the Toro size. This is a really...
I love that cigar.
Yeah, this is a really good cigar. We actually had the rep Adrian Acosta, who came out last summer. He did a cigar 101, and this was one of the main cigars that he actually featured.
And we got another one coming up July 24th.
Yes, sir. Don't forget about that.
Come through.
Yeah. So he actually did this, and he paired it with the actual Diplomatico rum. So it was the way he did it, he really broke down like how to taste the different nuances, and he
even taught you how to drink.
Yes, how to drink,
like how to taste, not to drink,
put your head back,
but to be able to to open up your palate with the alcohol and let it, the same way you would do it on retrohale on a cigar.
Exactly.
So July 24th, like we said, part 2, definitely come by. So this is the Mumbacho. Just to give the breakdown, it has Ecuadorian Habano wrapper. The binder is from the Jalapa region in Nicaragua. Jalapa. I keep forgetting that J silent. Sorry, all my Spanish people. And the fillers are, again, from Nicaragua, from Condega, Esteli, and Jalapa.
Okay.
I got it that time. I had this before. Definitely what we call a flavor bomb. Has some raisiny sweetness to it.
Yeah, that one's different. It pairs perfectly with the rum.
But it's also what's a little unique about this. Even though it has the sweetness, it also has that. At least in my opinion, is one of my favorite blends. Sweetness mixed with a little pepper to it.
It's because of those extra regions inside the filler.
Exactly. So it's a good combination, a good balance between.
But it's not
both.
overpowering.
It's not
pepper.
overpowering. It's definitely a good balance between it. So we'll talk about what we're drinking, but I think this is gonna pair really well. So what you smoking on, Rob?
I have gone with the full body Roma Craft Neanderthal.
That's a good one.
This
right there.
cigar is not for the faint of heart.
Definitely not.
It is a very strong, very well put together cigar.
Yes.
The flavors on it are complex. The construction on it is amazing. It is encased with a San Andreas wrapper, which is very coarse, which is a favorite of ours.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Then peep the binder on this bad boy. Connecticut broadleaf binder. Inside of a San Andreas wrapper.
That's why I should.
Yeah.
And then you have...
You gotta have your training wheels off for that one.
Yeah, you do. You do. And then you have Nika fillers from 4 different regions. So this thing is just loaded with experiences.
Definitely eat before you smoke that.
Yeah, this is not one that you can have with empty stomach, like you just said. So again, definitely try out this Roma Craft Neanderthal. It's, I don't know, it's one of the best cigars I had of this year. So definitely check this out. And Conway, what are you smoking today?
So I have the Embambe Corojo Oscuro Perfecto.
I love that
So
company.
Yes.
these things have been moving off our shelves like crazy.
Yes.
Not only from our members, but from our regular customers,
Yes.
from newer customers. And then when they'll come in and like, oh man, the Embambe joint, yeah man, it's gone.
Yeah.
Y'all just got him in 2 days ago. Yeah, I know.
And then they call and let me know when it comes in. Calling every day.
Exactly,
Did it come in
exactly.
yet? Did it get in yet?
Yeah, it's one of those sticks that no matter how many boxes we have, they're going. They just
Because
keep
people
going.
don't buy 1 or 2 at a time.
No, because they're scared to lose. So they
Exactly.
buy 3 or 4 or 5 at a time.
Exactly.
I know we got a couple of members. Yeah.
Stash them in their locker.
Yeah. It happened yesterday.
So
There
it's
you go.
it's an Ecuadorian wrapper and binder, but then the fillers where is like the little curveball. It's Ecuadorian, it's Dominican, then it's Peruvian.
Yeah, the mix is insane. And then to add some flavor on top of that, it's put together in Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just a whole blend of just deliciousness going down with this cigar.
They're amazing cigars, though. That has to be the company of the year for me.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. Definitely up there.
Not taking anything away from anybody else, but
No.
their cigars are just, I don't know, for
different level. Different level. And it's pairing well with what we're drinking. So speaking about that, Leak, let the people know what we're sipping on.
So we are sipping on
Let them know.
some
Sipping on some.
Pampero Anniversario.
Okay.
Okay, this is made and blended in Venezuela. This is aged 4 to 6 years, it says, in whiskey barrels, which is interesting because I don't really taste that yet, but maybe, I just started.
I do when you,
Do it again.
it's when you first drink it, and it first goes
okay,
down. You could taste it on the back end.
Yes. Okay.
And I will say this, listen, for everybody sitting at home, either watching us or listening, we do this. Like,
Yeah.
we know the difference with different rum, scotches. To be honest with you, we can sit out here and drink 18-year Glenlivet. We could drink, all types of like these high-end, but we are small batch connoisseurs. So we enjoy bringing and trying different things.
Definitely.
Just for the record, I just want to set that straight.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? You guys might wonder why you don't see, always like a, one of these quote-unquote Lagavulin 16.
You don't be
and stuff
drinking
like that.
Macallans all the time.
Macallans and
it's
stuff like that.
We
We do
do that
a lot.
but we're trying to put you on to something new.
Yes.
Something different. Expand your horizon.
Yeah, it's true. So, diversify.
Need to diversify your bonds.
So I just wanted to just make that very clear. We're just the same way we do with our cigar selection here. Majority of our cigars here in Smoke and Ashes, we carry a lot of small batch that companies that people either rarely heard of or they've never heard of.
Yeah.
And we just try to give people some type of
Put you on to something
yes,
new.
yeah. So we do the same thing with our pairings when we do drinks. So don't be sleeping on the stuff that we saying like it's some secondhand shit.
So next time you go out to the liquor store, if you see this, remember, I heard that on SNA Live.
Yeah.
Let me go try this. But so far, it's good. It's
They
definitely
gonna
good.
sit
Pick it
there and
up.
be like, oh, these motherfuckers know what they talking about.
Take a picture, hashtag SNA Live podcast, and then tag Pampero Aniversario.
Yes, sir.
And, just let us know that, let them know that you heard it from us.
Yeah,
sir.
Definitely. All right, so we have to get into our first topic.
PR.
Our personal experiences with respect to getting our kids into more expensive sports. Now, before we start, full disclosure, and we've mentioned this on the podcast before, the GM has kids. Leak has kids. Me, on the other hand,
He has our kids.
And his pit bull.
And Benny.
and Benny, exactly.
And Benny.
But I'm recently married, and before I was married, pullout game was so mean.
It's a world traveler here.
So mean.
Johnny Walker should
So
actually have him as the fucking as the logo.
So no kids as of yet. You know what I'm saying? It'll probably change in the near future. But like I
Absolutely.
said,
No pressure.
the crown was cemented. Pullout king. I was yeah.
But he does hear a lot of shit from us, so
So I know what I'm in for.
Yeah, facts.
Definitely know what I'm in for. So I'm gonna let you guys, take this in terms of your experiences. All I can speak to is me playing.
well, that's a
ball
part
in
of it though,
in the
because
playground.
it is a part of it though,
It's a part
because
of
you
it.
should know the difference too of playing street ball
Mm-hmm.
and when you start actually going real organized.
Yeah.
When you're just
Big
playing pickup
difference.
ball,
It's a big difference.
all of a sudden you're inside of a gym with trainers, coaches. There's an actual plan.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a
way
minute,
different.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute, this is not just find the open guy. There's schemes and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So you could talk to that. But speaking of access to different sports, listen, where we've grown up as us personally, like I grew up in the Bronx. We all know that we all lived and grown up between the Bronx and Yonkers.
Yeah.
The only tennis courts I knew of, for instance, were like in Van Cortlandt Park, and you needed like a special permit to even play there.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I know 168th was at Crotona Park.
Yeah.
They had a tennis court in there.
Did they?
Yes, they did. The only reason why I know that is because when I was like 11, the first game I ever saw live was Jim Courier played in the Bronx.
In Crotona Park?
Yeah, the
Say word.
GHI Open at the time. GHI doesn't exist anymore. They were an
Yeah.
insurance company.
Yeah.
They had like an open. And
In
they
the
did it.
Bronx.
They did it in the Bronx, bro. That's the first time I saw a tennis
That's why
court.
they don't exist anymore. Their
Facts.
budget wasn't like that.
Yeah, that was crazy.
You had a fucking open in the South Bronx.
You had Jim Courier playing in the South
In
Bronx.
the early 90s, because
Yeah,
Curry
bro.
was playing like in
He had a
91,
name.
92.
He had a name.
But the Bronx in the
You had
90s.
him in the Bronx playing tennis. I
That's
know,
crazy.
trust and believe. So again, the only time I ever had the experience of playing tennis was a couple of times I can't even deny. Like my dad had the opportunity. He worked his ass off to be able to take us on one vacation a year.
Yeah.
And most of the time we went to a resort that had a tennis court.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you had to
usually
rent the
comes-
tennis balls and
Yeah,
stuff from
yeah,
there.
it comes
So
with
that
it.
was my experience with tennis.
Yeah.
Coming back, never had the chance to.
Gotcha.
Same thing goes with the ice rink. There weren't too many ice rinks in the Bronx. There weren't. Obviously you could play lacrosse in a grass field, but who had lacrosse equipment?
I don't even think I knew what the fuck lacrosse was until I was like a teenager.
80s movies is the only reason why I knew what
Yeah,
lacrosse
yeah.
was.
I knew what it was. I wanted to play, but it wasn't around. You didn't
Because it
have
was
access to
hockey
it.
with just on grass,
On
without-
grass,
where
yeah.
you felt more like yourself, being able
Exactly.
to be you.
It's like
You're
playing
athletic.
tag out in the hood.
Basically.
Yeah,
basically.
got you.
Yeah,
Shook you.
Exactly. You actually would have been good at that.
That's why you think I freaking loved
You actually
it.
would've been good
I
with
wanted
that.
to play that so bad. But yeah, it was no access to it, man. It's
So
crazy.
now growing up, getting older, having children, moving out to Jersey, I had a chance to open the horizons for my kids. But not just on these particular sports that we're talking about, like golf, tennis, lacrosse, because most of the high schools out here in suburbia, they have these programs. Fencing.
Yeah. Still took me for a loop with that one, fencing. Like I never would have thought about that. If we would have sat here for like the next hour, like just come up with sports that like,
Fencing,
expensive. Fencing
Yeah.
would not have been one of those things I came up with.
It's
I'm
up
sorry,
there
go
though.
ahead.
It is with high school sports. And I
Yeah,
know
no,
a
it
set
is,
of
yeah.
twins from locally, they just got scholarship. They're gonna be right here in FDU, but still nonetheless, they got a scholarship to
Nice. That's all that matters.
fence.
And
the
that's
goal.
free
That's the
education.
goal.
Free
That's the
education.
goal.
That is
Yeah,
the
that's
the goal, man.
championship.
That's
Yeah.
it.
But that's what we teach our kids when we're playing on the youth level. The championship for us as an organization is making sure that you get
Full ride.
a full ride. That is the win.
That's it.
Going pro, if you go pro in any sport, God bless you, because that's
Exactly.
lightning in a bottle you're
Yeah.
catching.
Yeah.
Just being real, the numbers don't add up.
Yeah.
So if you do that, but if you can get through college without paying and having debt,
Exactly.
you won.
Without paying and having time to actually study. Because some of these programs,
being a student athlete is extremely hard.
yeah, really, really rough.
So,
Especially on scholarship.
Yeah.
So I'll speak to my personal experience. So growing up, I actually went through this. So you know my story.
Yeah.
So I was a freaking active ass kid. I had ADHD, couldn't sit still. On top of that, grew up in a hood where there was a lot of crime, a lot of shit going on outside, and shout out to my parents. Their main goal was to make sure I didn't get caught up in the streets. And at the same time, I couldn't fucking sit still in the house, so I was driving them crazy.
Yeah, so they had to get you to something.
So shout out to my grandparents, because we did not have a lot of money in the household. You know, it was 3 of us in the house. I mean, both my parents worked, but you know, they weren't making a lot of money. We struggled, but my grandparents were the key to helping me get through that.
That's what's up.
And again, a lot of kids in you know, us growing up in our hood, we didn't have that. You know, for the most part,
Didn't even have grandparents.
We didn't even have grandparents, or if they did, you know, they was off doing their own thing. They have no money.
Or separate.
Separate, exactly. So I was blessed. I'm gonna use it. I was blessed that I had grandparents that helped me get through pretty much my childhood of not getting in trouble, and they kept me busy by putting me in sports. I actually did one of these very rare, expensive sports. I'm not ashamed to say it, because I was couldn't sit still. I did gymnastics at
There's nothing wrong with that.
age 5 years old, and I did it. I was competed nationally. So from 5.
I have one question.
Yes.
How tight were the tights?
They were really tight. They showed my 6-year-old package. They showed my 6-year-old package.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I was a diesel ass little 6-7-year-old kid, dude. I had the cuts and all that. I was walking around like this.
The 6-year-old looking like he just came out the yard.
Exactly. That's exactly what I looked like. I was skinny as fuck, but I was cut up. But no, but you know what I mean? Like, it was expensive, bro. It was expensive, and it took a lot of time. Like, literally from Monday to Thursday, there was practices from 4 to 5 hours. But again, it kept me out of trouble. Yeah. On top of that, I also did track, which is, I mean, people from my hood usually do track, but I was also competitive in track. So I say all to say, I was blessed at a young age to not, you know, go into the streets early. Again, I had grandparents that helped me out. But now that I have kids, I'm trying to do the same thing for my kids. The same thing as far as putting them in sports that are a little bit kind of out of the ordinary for us as far as we're black folk. And it's like day and night from how I grew up to, again, being out here in Jersey. You see your access. I mean, my son freaking did wrestling. We wasn't thinking about fucking wrestling.
No, we weren't, but
it was like WWE.
It was WWE.
But I will be real with you.
Organized wrestling.
So when you dive into playing football and coaching football, you realize that wrestling and football they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So most of the football players that play in high school, they wrestle.
Like The Rock and who was it?
Well, I mean, just in general, like right now, like in current high school right now.
Oh, you're saying, okay.
Like wrestling how your son did.
Yeah.
Like it goes hand in hand with football.
Gotcha.
Most wrestlers play football and vice versa. You know what I mean? The same way there's other guys that obviously your wideouts and your running backs can wrestle, but most likely they run track.
Mm-hmm. And then the linemen.
And the bigger men. Yeah. Special players. Maybe the running back could be a wrestler for his weight class. But when you come out to like Jersey, for instance, wrestling is huge.
It's big out here. It's fucking big.
Wrestling is huge out here.
One of my son's friends is in nationals right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's a huge sport. Yeah. But to your point before, you were saying just on how these sports that we didn't have access to, that you try to get your kids involved in. So I will sit here and tell you this, from my personal experience, to be real with you, playing football growing up wasn't as glamorized in the city as basketball or baseball.
Definitely wasn't. Because it wasn't a lot of
football fields. There wasn't a lot of football fields or programs.
No.
And there wasn't a lot of access there. When I came out here, I had an opportunity to get my kids to the town, where they started playing ball at a young age, growing up the way I wish I had the chance.
Just look at the NFL. Like when you look at the NFL versus the NBA, the NBA, it's like, oh, they're known for the point guards coming out of New York City. You know what I mean? The NFL is known for its football players. There's not really too many football players out of the New York area.
I can't name.
It's not a lot.
I don't know.
We had one in Yonkers, but he was a lineman. Jimmy Kennedy. He played in the NFL for about.
Did
He played with my brother. Yeah.
He went to Roosevelt?
He went to Roosevelt.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
He played with
And
my
when
brother.
he played in the pros?
Played in the pros for like 8-9 years.
See, so that's good. So, but again,
But
like
once
right
again,
in the bottle.
Very rare.
Yeah, very,
Very
Now, when you come out to Jersey, it changes
Yeah,
dramatically.
definitely.
Like right over the bridge.
Yeah.
Like this particular town in Teaneck, Tom Bahali came out of here. Lance Ball came out of here. So these are guys who played years in the league. And Tom Bahali was a big name. He was a defensive end that was wrecking. He was causing havoc.
Yeah.
He was a sack leader for the Kansas City Chiefs. So he was someone who.
Had notoriety in the
But there's
league,
so many other people in Jersey. But
There's
the
a lot
thing is though, when you come out here, a sport like football that you think is more common in a town or city or state, and anywhere in Jersey or Jersey as a whole, the competition level is extremely high. And to stay on top,
Definitely.
you have to get outside training.
Yeah.
Parents have the misconception that they can put a kid in a rec team and expect results.
Yeah.
If you want results, you have to have your kid play on a club team, or you need to have outside training,
I witnessed that this past
or
year.
both.
Yeah.
Because sometimes one isn't enough.
Because all the other kids are. And
Everyone else
now
is
you're
getting
a step
it.
behind.
You're behind.
Yeah.
I literally just had to spend a couple of $1,000 for my son to get trained in baseball, and I saw the difference. Like he went from, it was like day and night, but he was on a club team, so it was that pressure of if you want to be as good as these kids, you got to do with these kids. These kids is training 4 or 5. I mean, I can only 4 once a week, even if that. But these kids are getting 4 or 5 times a week, one-on-one training, paying thousands of dollars because they have access to that. You know what I mean? We didn't have that.
So I mean, I know it because if I didn't have friends of mine in Jersey, I was blessed to meet 3 amazing trainers in the sport of football, and I've met countless trainers in baseball as well. One of the best trainers in baseball, I'll keep it local too, is he's a local law enforcement here now too, Mr. Apreda. He was one of the cops that were here during our car show.
Okay.
Yeah, he's trained Aaron. He's
baseball,
run.
right?
Yeah, he's ran club teams. He's phenomenal.
Lefties, what was it called?
Well, no, lefties is a spot you would train it down like in Clifton or something like that.
Yeah.
But Michael, he used to work out of Fairview and a couple other spots still. But going back to football, my guy Medee Williams, my guy Brian Walker, and
Brian, what's up, man?
then my
Frequent customer of
Yes, he
Smoking
is.
Ash.
Absolutely.
Always supports.
absolutely,
Yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
and my man Steven Speedy Gonzalez. These 3 individuals all played at high levels. Brian and Speedy both played in the NFL. Medee played at Syracuse the same time as Donovan McNabb as the quarterback.
Okay.
So he's the one that followed McNabb when he was gone. He was the quarterback after.
Oh, he was a backup
Yes,
when he came.
which was his turn next.
Yeah, okay.
These individuals aren't cheap, and they train with kids all the time. Difference is some trainers are money grabbers, and then some trainers are trainers for real.
Yeah.
Those 3 gentlemen I mentioned, they're trainers for real.
And that's the longer money.
And I'll tell you, Brian
Yeah.
doesn't train everybody. You have to show for him, give you an audition.
You have to have a base level of talent or physical acumen.
And if we can't vibe,
Yeah.
and if your
Attitude.
dialect and everything, if
I'm
it's
not
not
taking your
vibing,
money. Yeah,
within
yeah.
15 minutes, you'll just this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, but the point I'm making is that you had mentioned the upper hand.
Yeah.
When you go to these guys who are my friends, you see the kids who are training with them consistently.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a lot of money invested in this. They're not cheap. These guys train professional players.
Here's a question for you. It just came up top of my head because I remember me growing up, specifically with basketball. I don't know about football, definitely basketball. In the inner city, in the Bronx, Gauchos, Riverside, all that. We had access to these sponsors. I'll say that in quotes. Sponsors who would help you and get you. My situation. Having the Gauchos, and you had these sponsors who would pay for these trainings and pay for you to be on these teams. Is it like that for football? Are there people out here who are helping these kids who don't have access to the funds, seeing that talent at a young age and then molding them and just helping them through the ranks by sponsoring them? I know that was big back in the days with us. I don't know if that still goes on. Your kids are older than mine, so you obviously.
From my experience, most of the kids that get these opportunities, they've had, for one, talent, from young, but they also have had a support system with their parents investing in their training. That led them to go to more showcases. More showcases led to more combines. More combines led to more notoriety. And that's where most of these coaches go to. They don't believe it or not, kids are getting scouted already at 6th, 7th, 8th grade for football, though.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
we had that in basketball back then.
But basketball was common. It wasn't common for football because
your body wasn't matured.
Body's not matured yet.
Yeah.
Now there's kids on the radar. Dude, there was a kid who was like, I don't know, 10 years old already with a full scholarship to Michigan.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane. So to answer your question, a lot of the kids that are not with opportunity to have these trainings because of their upbringing or their situations.
A home situation.
When they do leave from 8th grade into high school, if these kids are lucky to get scholarships to these high schools, I've seen where communities have come together to back some of these kids.
Good.
I have seen some individuals also step up to help.
Good.
You know what I
All
mean? But the one thing I do love about football is that when a kid does join a team, it's like joining a fraternity.
Yeah.
It's not like any other sport. Like, if we let you in, we let you in. Because they feel that they go to war in every game.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, me and Leek, we were basketball players, man. So, like, I always said, people that play football are special individuals.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like, so I rode, Rod, you rode for a little while. Leek, I know you had aspirations of possibly getting a motorcycle at one point, but that's another fraternity because you understand, like, when we're out there on the street,
Yeah, it's us.
it's us in the road.
Yes.
And if you are as crazy as me, I respect that because you have to be a little touched to ride a motorcycle
You do.
on the open road with cars.
Yeah,
that
you
are, that you have no protection around you. Football is the same thing.
Yes, it is. It really is.
I ain't gonna lie, I tried it. It's like, yeah, this is not for me.
Oh, I'll tell the story real quick.
I
Junior
tell
high
my
school.
story too. Yeah, junior high school, it's the same thing.
So you know the drill. I don't know. So I'm not a football dude, so I don't know what the name of the drill is. But you know where it's like
Nutcracker.
everybody's in a circle,
You're a nutcracker.
and then you guys
On your backs.
You're on your
backs.
back.
It's a nutcracker.
Get up and turn around and then hit each other.
They-
But you have to pick up the ball.
Yeah.
yeah, one guy does.
Yeah. Okay. So I did that.
It's illegal now.
I did
That
that.
shit was dangerous.
The dude that tackled me.
But there's a meme, though, Conway,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
to
seen
support
that. I
this.
seen that.
That is the one drill that has made more basketball players in the world. Yo, there's literally a meme with that.
Yo, dude didn't even hit me that hard. It wasn't him hitting me.
It was everything.
It was the ball was right under my
So
chest.
in your
Knocked the
bread
wind-
basket,
knocked
it
the
got the
wind
wind
out.
knocked out.
And the dude landed on me.
Yeah,
this
you were done.
dude was a big dude,
Yeah.
man.
You felt it.
Every
You see it.
ounce of oxygen
I get it.
that was in my body escaped. And I was just like, ugh.
It's true.
And I was like, yep, I'm good.
You see,
Catch you on the blacktop. Let's go.
when we were growing up, football was used as a sport to make you tougher,
That's what I did.
or to consolidate that toughness if you were too rough and put your anger and that towards something.
Yeah.
Nowadays, most of these kids, the generations have changed. The teaching methods are different.
Yeah.
What football is really most well known for, honestly, is teaching kids team building.
Team meeting and discipline, obviously. too.
Baseball and basketball are very singular sports.
They can't. Well,
They can
baseball
be.
specifically.
So is
Baseball.
basketball.
Not-
Because
it's
one,
gotten, it's gotten
not
like
as
that,
much as
but
baseball.
it has. It has.
It's
One
gotten like
kid
that.
at the youth level, I've watched multiple games.
Yeah.
The final score would be 67-62. One kid had 43 points.
Yeah.
So it's like one guy can control a game.
Yeah, definitely.
And the same thing goes in baseball. It's singular because
Straight
it's a
singular.
pitcher,
Yeah.
one batter. You know, it's a lot of one-on-one showcase.
Well, by
So
definition, baseball is singular.
Yeah.
Basketball has become that.
It's
because-
becoming.
because the
Yes.
money is so crazy on the line.
So I'm doing my thing. I gotta get that money. I gotta get that
Especially
check.
with
I'm
the
doing
amount
my
of
thing.
money that parents spend on these teams. These club teams are expensive, so these kids become selfish from young.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I teach my son to be selfish. Like, we lost and blah blah blah. I'm like, how did you do? Like, how did you do? You were up at bat. How did you do? I'm sorry, because I feel like
But that's
baseball is
not-
a singular sport.
but that's
I'm like,
not
you need
being-
to concentrate on what you did in the game. Like, he would get mad at all the other. Oh, this guy didn't do that. Dude, worry about what you have to do. If
Yeah,
you
no, I
do
get
good,
that.
that'll help the team. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you do your job, that helps the team.
The
That
same way,
helps y'all
the way we
win.
teach it in football is do your 111. Basically, meaning there's
like
11 of us on the side.
Yeah, yeah.
Do your 1 out of 11.
Yeah.
If you do yours, I'll do mine.
And everybody does the same thing. Then all 11 is on point.
That's the one thing
Yeah.
though that I love about football is because I really have to trust you and what
Yeah.
you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And not only that, I have to trust you, and I gotta trust the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
And if one guy fucks up,
It can fuck up the
it can
whole
fuck up
thing.
everything.
Yeah.
So it's the ultimate team sport.
Definitely.
And football nowadays is used more as a tool to teach kids how to be more together.
Definitely.
as compared to the other sports.
Definitely. And on that note, we have to get to our segment. We call it Notable Mention. This week, we are profiling Miss Florence Griffith Joyner, a.k.a. FloJo.
It's the SNA Live Podcast, and it's time for the Notable Mention.
And we're back with our Notable Mention segment. As I stated before, Miss Florence Griffith Joyner. So, this is back in the day. We've said it before.
She needs to.
Yeah, definitely.
FloJo.
For nothing else other than her flyness when she stepped on the track. So let's just profile her real quick.
Talk about swag before that was a word.
Hell yeah.
Before it was a word.
So
fashion.
those that don't know, Google her.
Please,
number one. Number
you
two,
should.
we always talk about how we 80s babies, man. So we coming up, we watching the Olympics. This particular woman, 1988 Olympics. It was in Seoul, Korea. She won a silver and 3 gold medals. She won the gold in the 100 meter.
3 gold medal. You know who's that, right?
No, what the fuck was that?
Who's that, Malik? Come on. Felix Tito Trinidad.
Oh, there you go.
When he talked about beating 3 gold medalists, 3 gold medal.
Shout out Tito. She got the 200 meter. She set the world record in the 200 meter that year. And she did the relay, the 4x100 meter. And then she also had the silver. And I think she got a gold. No, I think she got a silver in the 84 Olympics. That was in LA. Her hometown, actually.
Hometown, that's right.
Watts. She's from PJ's in Watts. But
Watching her run. Gee, I'm having flashbacks.
It's like
right
a
now.
show.
not only was she graceful, but before there was Serena Williams, y'all got to check this out now. Before there was Serena with the fly outfits and the FloJo came out with the nails.
Yes, she did.
And the leg.
With the fluorescent colors.
Yes, she did.
With the nails looking like Coco from SWV. You know what I mean?
You're not lying there.
And beautiful woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like really just
Oh, yeah.
Her hair
easy
was-
on the
hair
eyes.
was always done.
Yeah. But she was fly.
Then she used to
You know?
do one leg up and one leg down on the thighs.
Like once
Yep.
again, before there was and
Fashion.
no disrespect to Serena. I'm not saying she was biting or whatever, but Serena just took the torch
And continued it and carried it over.
continued
Yeah.
and brought it to another level because Serena got that donkey. So
I don't even want to talk about that story.
Okay, donkey.
So FloJo was the originator of flyness in sports for women on that next level. And unfortunately, we lost her way too early. She died at the age of 38 years old. Apparently, she had a condition where she had epileptic seizures and she suffocated in her sleep when she had a seizure. So unfortunately, we lost her way too early. But notable mention, Florence Griffith Joyner, a.k.a. FloJo.
And listen, like Conway said, man, please, if you've never heard of her before or you're familiar with the name and don't remember her real accomplishments, jump on YouTube, do a quick Google search, watch a couple of her races, just watch an interview of her, and watch her talk, and then see her swag. Before, like I said, swag was a word. And what she did for the sport. I mean, like realistically,
Definitely.
a lot of people weren't onto track and field.
I was running
like
track at that time. She was one of the
Unless-
between her and Carl Lewis. Like
Carl
that's who
Lewis
we
was
looked up
another
to.
one.
That's-
Yes.
they look like us, and they were in
Absolutely.
the Olympics winning gold medals.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So
So
big ups.
speaking about athletes of color, we got to talk about our next topic, which is these athletes of color who come through in these expensive sports. The golfs, the tennis, gymnastics, track and field, fencing. Even though I don't know any people of color in fencing. I don't know anybody.
You will
any
be
color in
surprised if you
fencing.
did watch. I know on a high school level, it's very prominent with people of color in fencing.
Really?
Yeah,
You learn
And
something new
I've
every day.
seen it. I want to see it on like ESPN3 sometimes.
I always saw us fencing as far as in high school. It was usually like in those boarding schools and stuff like that.
Teaneck has fencing.
T-Neck has fencing? Wow.
I just told you I had 2 twins from Teaneck. They're going to FDU for fencing.
Crazy.
Nice.
I had no
So I mean,
Full ride,
there's,
okay.
I mean,
Like I
whatever
said.
their scholarship was, they're going there. So fencing is a thing.
So let me ask you something. So obviously you have the Williams sisters, you have Tiger Woods, but when I say to you, and keep in mind, I just want to be clear about this. I'm going to include baseball, and here's why. I know baseball is America's pastime or whatever, But when he really boils down to it, and we were kind of addressing this in the last segment about these club teams and how expensive it gets. So shout out to all these Caribbean players that focus and do what they need to do to get out of their situation of poverty. Because we have people that are, look, we all grew up in the hood on this show of ours, but there's nothing like third world country or outside of the United States poverty.
Yeah, we grew up in like underdeveloped neighborhoods, but not.
We had shoes to play our sports.
We had running water.
These kids have no shoes. They're out playing on
electricity
dirt.
and
running water.
Yeah.
Like like general baseline things that you take for
playing
granted.
on dirt, barefoot.
Exactly. So I'm gonna include that.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. So when I say athlete of color that's come through in these sports, who comes to mind for you?
I mean, well, shit. A couple do right off the jump. You know what I mean? Like, I'll keep it on tennis. What's the young girl who just took herself out for mental health? Osaka.
Naomi Osaka.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she's mixed, but still. I mean,
yo, you know why I fucks with her? Because she's black.
She has poise, though, and she respects the black culture.
But she's black, but she's nationality. She's Japanese.
Yeah, but she carries the black culture.
No, she does. But that's my point, though. It was so cool that she puts herself out there.
She does. She's an advocate
for Black American issues.
Yes, she does.
When she's not American, she doesn't have to do that.
She doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah, if you see her, it has the Japanese flag when she plays, right? It doesn't have the US.
Exactly. Because she's not American.
Yeah,
she's born and raised in Japan.
But if you see, I follow her on social media. She was out in Haiti doing missionary work in Haiti. That's where her dad is from. But
and that's why I don't like the term African American, because it separates.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never hear like Swedish American or fucking like.
If you're black, you can
think
be black
about that.
from America. You can be black from.
It's true though. You never hear fucking like a Czech American or
you don't.
Fucking
You don't.
Scott American or Irish American.
Just American.
You do hear Irish American.
Yeah,
but you know why?
Because they weren't considered white until like the 30s.
Exactly, they were the of the litter.
Yeah, but
Irish,
Panamanian, Nicaraguan, Dominican, Puerto Rican, like Brazilian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Colombian is black people in Colombia. For those that don't know, they're black people in Colombia. So you could be, black is not solely just an American, well, obviously Africa, the largest black continent, but it's not just it's not just exclusive to America. So shout out to Naomi Osaka, because she embraced the struggle without even being American.
Facts.
So, but Lee,
so I was gonna go specifically to sport, which I feel like we've never been a part of, probably because it's too freaking cold. We don't like cold, but hockey, we're slowly starting to.
Yeah, if you look into these teams.
So to name PK Subban, I believe he's like probably the biggest African American.
Yeah, isn't he fucking with shorty that's a skier?
Yes. What's her name?
Fuck.
The Olympic girl. Yeah.
It'll come to me. Good.
But yeah. So listen to these stats though. In the NHL, it's 97% white, 3% is just a mixture of different ethnicities. Out of that 3%, only 26 are black.
I didn't know it was 26.
26, and 20 of them are all from Canada.
No, well, it's not an American sport. It's more of a Russian and Canadian
but 26
sport.
out of that 3% is only black.
Time out. I thought there was like 4 black players in the NHL.
That's what I mean. They're starting.
No, there's more.
Maybe
there's
7,
one
8,
team that has like 3 guys
it has
on
3
it.
of them. Maybe 10 years ago, yes, it was like that.
Okay,
now,
cool.
That's why I said we're starting to now. They're gonna start getting nervous. They're gonna start throwing in some rules or some shit to try to keep us out of here. But hockey's expensive too, bro.
No,
that equipment, it's like football. It's like football. All that equipment, you gotta pay for all that shit, man.
And then you gotta find a fucking ice rink.
Exactly. How many ice rinks is in the hood?
Yeah, exactly. You can go to the fucking park and just get a grass field to play some fucking football if you want.
You gotta drive 40-45 minutes away just to go find a hockey ice rink. But
so I'm gonna give you some. I had to look this up because I wanted to get the young lady's name right. Erin Jackson is the first black woman to compete for the U.S. Olympic long track speed skating. Speed skater.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I heard about her.
Speed skater.
Yeah. But if you think about it, it's just track.
The dynamic, though.
It's track on ice.
The dynamic, though, was the physical makeup that you need to be successful as a speed skater is a lower bottom half.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And which nationality? I mean, it's
hip, thighs, and ass. We got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a matter of time before some started breaking through.
Yeah.
And that they're doing now.
Here's another stat I just found out. Do you know we just had the World Championships for gymnastics to qualify to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Do you know the U.S. women's team are all African American females?
For what sport?
For gymnastics.
Oh wow.
I'm
Yes.
not
They were
surprised
all-
now.
So Simone Biles, go to her. You go on her page and she posted it. It's like 6 of them. All
Speaking
African-American
of Simone
girls.
Biles, let's give a round of applause for that young lady right there. Because listen,
breaking records, they changing the rules because of her.
yes, they are. They basically are.
Yeah.
They basically are. This is a young lady who was adopted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had her own, trials and tribulations growing up.
Yeah.
Acclimating to a white family that adopted her.
Yep.
And she's not the biggest.
Nah, little girl.
Never was the biggest.
Little girl.
But Lord, her heart and her physical acumen, her physical build actually, that has transcended her into history forever.
They named moves after her. It's called the Biles. They have
Look at that.
moves named after her.
Look
That
at
girl
that.
is talented, bro. Talented. Man.
Lindsey
Shout out-
Vaughn, by the way.
Lindsey Vaughn. That's who. I was thinking of Vaughn.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lindsey Vaughn.
Yeah. Yeah.
K. Subban.
It was fucking with me.
She used to mess with Tiger too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
In the words of Smokey, though, I don't think he was in that right.
But to touch on something that you said before, I want to give you guys this crazy stat real quick. And I didn't want to chop this up either. I wanted it to be legit. So, even though the most popular sport by default in America is football nowadays.
Oh yeah, definitely took over baseball. Yeah.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it trails, and this is in youth sports, it trails basketball by 3.4 million, which is the basketball players, youth kids from the last count in 2019. Baseball is 2.8 million, and soccer is 1.48 million. This here in the States. And it's only slightly ahead of tennis, which tennis is at 1.4.
Okay.
So the numbers have changed because times have changed.
Yeah.
And we're doing better for ourselves also at the same
That we are too. And shout out to more of these enrichment programs that are growing up in these
Yeah. Popping up in the
underdeveloped
Yeah.
areas that are
Yeah.
giving kids
Yeah,
more
definitely.
opportunities.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and this could be biased to default. The one real reason why I feel the way I do with youth baseball in particular is that you spend a lot of money on bringing your kids in to get these trainings. But you had mentioned the demographic that doesn't get talked about a lot. And it's the Caribbean, which should,
Yeah.
because most of these kids, like I had told you guys before, they knew Mike Trout by the age of 7 was
Yeah.
going to be a phenomenal player.
Yeah.
Baseball has analytics down to a science, more than any other sport. Sometimes too much.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little extra.
Yeah, because it's taken coaching out of the game.
Yeah.
There's no need for a manager.
Everything is analytics, but
All-
analytics
all you know
don't
is that-
work all the time.
Yeah, you're managing personalities. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
But the thing is that sometimes your gut, which is what you paid a manager for back in the day, is what gets things through.
Yeah, but all the
all
nerds like took over.
Yeah.
Dudes
What's
that-
funny
they
though,
run
is
the teams.
it's
The
only
nerds.
50-50 though. See, adding these analytics teams to these franchises
Yeah.
adds millions of dollars.
Look what's happened to the Yankees. I think they
and why
overanalyze.
why are they not successful?
Because they overanalyze.
That's
they,
my
they don't
point.
use the gut. They don't use
That's
gut.
my point, and that's why Girardi was ousted, because
Yeah.
he was not about
Yeah, he's
everything.
Because he's old school.
I'll take some of it, but I'm
Yeah.
not taking all of it.
You're not gonna tell me what to do in the crunch when it's like I've been playing this game
Yeah.
and you've been looking at a fucking computer.
Exactly.
And I've been around this guy for the
Exactly.
last week. I've been watching his demeanor. I watch how he eats. I watch how he comes to practice. I know what he's doing. This guy is focused this week. Now, the analytics don't prove that you're going to be successful because there's a lot more left-handers and right-handers and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But your drive and your approach this week made me feel comfortable
Exactly.
putting you in.
You know
but the
who fucked it up?
analytics makes me put the other guy in.
You know who fucked it all up? And, credit to him because he got the Red Sox a fucking title since the first time in forever and the Cubs. Was it Theo Epstein?
Epstein.
Yeah. He fucked it up for everybody. Because you can't go 100 years and not win a World Series, and then it's like you implement a system of like pure analytics and then they win.
Well, he won it with 2 franchises that didn't
I'm saying
win.
the Red-
one that hasn't won in like 100 years.
Yeah, I'm saying the Red Sox
And then the Red
Cubs.
Sox, yeah.
What's
So-
the dude from the Oakland A's though that started that whole?
Oh, Bean, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But they never won.
Yeah.
That's why people didn't jump on the bandwagon.
Theo
But when
Epstein
Theo-
took his shit and ran with
Yes.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
he was a young guy. He was innovative. But
it. I mean, I could speak to something else. Just going back to the whole thing, the pressure when you was talking about baseball and stuff like that. It's also, so I'm just telling a personal story. So my big thing with my kids is that I wanted them to try everything. listen, I'm not going to force a sport on you. Obviously, I play basketball. I'm not going to force my son to play basketball.
Well, you can't because they're never going to play it.
Exactly.
If they don't want to.
Just give them access to as much as you can. I even did karate at one time when I was little. Just
Absolutely.
because my pops was like, yo, I'm just going to put you out there, try everything, whatever you like. It wound up being basketball and track. Those were the two things. But so I'm doing the same thing for my kids. But, dude, this is some fucking pressure. It just so happened the sports that they like are all the most fucking expensive sports. My son wants to play fucking baseball and wrestling, and my daughter wants tennis and gymnastics. Those are like the most expensive sports. So, again, just going to the topic, it's also pressure as parents. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, feeling like you have to freaking work 2 or 3 jobs just to put your kids in the best situation.
Kids don't understand the concept
They don't
of
understand the money. Yeah.
They're just like, well, I want to do this, and you're telling me I can't, so you're a bad dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
That's
true.
Like,
Kind of what it is.
Actually, if your little ass would get out and get a job,
Like my son, he could have played in the rec travel team, which I wanted him to do, but he had that taste of the club baseball. He's like, no, I want to play club again. And like, who am I to say no? Like, if I can make it happen for my kid, my son, I'm gonna do it. Work extra hard, do what I have to do, save some money up, and I gotta do that for him. But going to baseball, I know you're down on baseball, but going back to the topic we said, at the end of the day, it's all about getting that free ride to school. So I'm not doing with the expectations that he's going to make it to the big leagues. If he can get that full ride and I don't got to pay for that college, I did my job. I did my job.
So that's the thing, though. Going back on baseball, it's again, we do consulting with parents in our junior program, and we give parents all the numbers. You have to understand that baseball only carries but so many kids on a roster like basketball. They only give but so many scholarships away.
Yeah.
So on a 14-man team, they're only giving away 2.
Yeah.
For baseball, because I guarantee whatever college, the other sports are getting more scholarship opportunity, basketball and football, because you need about 40 kids on that team.
But baseball has D2 and D3 just like basketball.
D3 doesn't give scholarships. D2 is only partial.
D2,
so
you're not getting that full ride.
But the thing with baseball, again, is so analytical that, again, if you're not scouted already by the age of 9, 10, odds of making anything after that is tough.
That's crazy.
It's very fucking expensive.
It's really tough. I had a kid here from Tina who had a full ride from Clemson. Right now, he's going to Clemson right now, but he's had that in the bag already for years.
Let me ask you something, because I'm not a baseball dude, and I'm
And shout out to one of the kids I coached, Luca Reyes. I have to let him know he went to Bergen Catholic from Teaneck. First year as a freshman, signed his letter of intent, 4-year scholarship to University of Miami as a freshman.
That's real cool. That's real cool.
So again.
So what I was about to say is the baseball thing, not a baseball thing. I'm Bronx born, so I'm always going to root for my Yankees, right? But not really in depth with the inner workings of baseball. Obviously, within the past 15, 20 years, there's like just an influx of people from the Caribbean or Central America.
It's been like that for the last 15, 20 years. Yep.
Exactly. So the Manny Ramirez's, the Yasiel Puigs,
I mean, they're shipping. They're getting guys like smuggled out of countries to play.
So here's my question: what are they doing in their countries that gets them leaps and bounds better than the kids in club teams?
They're putting a bat in their hand at 4 and 5 years old.
No, it's more than that.
They're starting young.
It's more than that. They are starting young, but it's more than that. You're gonna get the family out of this jam.
It's the hunger, right?
It's the hunger.
You're gonna get us out of this jam.
Yeah.
We're gonna put whatever we got. I'm gonna work countless hours at the fields. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do, literally. Walking barefooted miles to work or with some sandals. Yeah. Work 12 hours, walk back, and do it again. Just to be able to get
smuggle you into the United States, like Yasiel Peak story.
That's what I'm saying, though.
Go through cartels and shit just to get over here.
That's what a lot of them do.
Some of them don't make it over here too. You know that.
No, they don't. Some of them
they die on the way.
Some of them get kidnapped for more money.
Yeah.
Puig was one of them, though.
He got kidnapped twice, I think. Yeah.
They kidnapped his ass and they had him for ransom.
Yeah.
So, what those kids doing though is that they're born in such a poverty.
Yeah.
All they got. Baseball's a cheap sport in relation to putting equipment around, because it's not easy to play on a dirt field, but can you do it? Yes.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Get a stick, a ball.
Well, back in the day, all that you learned in New York City that made a lot of people ball players was most of the parents back in the 50s, 60s played stickball.
Stickball, yeah.
Stickball's extremely hard. If you ever tried to hit anything.
Then that shit is.
It's a broomstick with a ball. I mean, you try to swing a broomstick at a ball.
With a paddle ball.
basically.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And that was the hood tennis.
Yes, it was.
Like my pops played paddleball. People played
yo,
handball.
my dad was paddleball king.
That's what I think. Crotona Park. That's what I think.
Paddleball, big time.
Yeah.
Orchard Beach was another one. So was Van
Orchard
Cortlandt
Beach,
Park.
yeah.
Van Cortlandt Park was another one. Paddleball. Out 161st Street.
Yeah.
Another big paddleball, handball.
Yep.
But
For those that don't know, in New York, people that are listening maybe like in another state, another country, because we got people. Shout out to all our international fans, by the way. We've extended across the Atlantic. We got people in Europe. We got people in Africa listening.
Yeah,
Shout
we
out
do.
to those fans. So for those that don't know, in New York, you have parks where you have just pretty much a concrete court with a fence around it and a concrete slab coming up in the middle of it, and people play either paddleball or handball. It's a blue rubber ball, and I remember my pops used to always walk around.
blue or green, but they hard as shit.
Yeah, and
We used to play suicide with that ball.
yeah, or butts up.
Same,
What's up?
yep.
Yeah.
Same thing. There you go.
And the talent,
One of those.
Thinking about that hit.
we have to do like an old school like hood games that we came up playing. We got to do an episode.
Yeah,
on that.
we could do a parody on it, like it's just a game show type thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so the level of competitiveness, the women, fuck the dudes. The women that I saw playing paddleball, they would have their glove.
Bro.
They would be into it.
But the thing is though that they would get to the paddleball courts early, 7 a.m. Full cooler
Yeah,
of beer.
Beer, definitely.
Okay, full cooler of beer, and they'd be in the
definitely be
park
some Colt 45
all day.
out there.
That's the whole
Absolutely.
Sunday. That was
Miller Lights, all that shit.
And a pack of Newports.
Yeah.
You was good to go.
No, you're right. Or Cools.
the cools. Yeah, that was their whole Sunday.
But again, the tides have shifted. I'll be honest with you. Watching sports, baseball particularly, like out here in Jersey, you see a lot of like, in baseball particularly, you see a lot of white kids that play baseball. But when you look at the numbers that make it into the league, they're usually these Caribbean kids that
Yeah.
they're bringing in.
It's the Caribbean.
Yep.
kids.
You know what I mean?
Shit, we played about 8 games in club. Played 7 or 8 different teams. My son was the only kid of color out of all the games we went to.
I get it, man. And for me, when
Only one.
when I personally coached my teams here in Teaneck, I had a multicultural team, and I used to get shit from all the other coaches. Not some of them more than the others. I would always put my kids in the hardest division to play in.
That's smart.
I would take my kids who were considered like kids on the rise, trying to cross over.
Yeah.
But I would take them to play against Patterson. I would take them against Passaic. I would take them against these teams that are in these hoods. Like literally, I played a team that literally came off a plane
Yeah.
2 weeks prior to the game. The whole team that came from DR.
But you know what though? That will instill a certain fortitude in your kids, because
That's why I did it.
these kids are hungry that they're playing against.
That's why I did it.
So it's gonna make them either cower or step their game up
You're
and
gonna-
realize
yes.
their potential.
We're gonna see what kind of cream you are. Are you the
Yeah.
one that just sticks together and clutters and goes to the bottom, or are you gonna rise to the top?
Definitely.
So yes.
Definitely.
But again, there's a lot more kids of color and not just playing, like you said, the traditional basketball, football. You see them now playing tennis. You see
Yeah.
them more. Track and field has always had a mixture of children of color playing.
Yeah.
But tennis, hockey,
Hockey. Yeah.
like I said, fencing. I know it's a
Yeah.
joke. You know another one?
What?
Bowling. And the kids get scholarships for bowling.
You know what the crazy part is? When I think bowling,
And I love bowling.
I love it, but it's more of like I don't take it seriously as a sport. It's more of like
I do. We always spoke about that. Oh,
It's like a
I love bowling.
hey, let's get together, get drunk, and do. Remember the spot up in Harlem?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's the
Didn't
fucking
last
name
too
of
long.
it? It didn't last long.
Harlem
Harlem
Lanes.
Lanes.
Yes, Harlem
Yeah.
I
Lanes.
stayed in there. I had one of my
Yeah.
birthdays there.
Yeah, I had a
Harlem Lanes.
couple dates in there. That's before you, Kyle. I'm sorry.
Well, judging by the name of it alone, it doesn't exist. So
Yeah,
it's a very
it
long
was
time.
back in the day. Back in the day.
Great idea though.
So yeah, definitely. All right, so we have to get into our segment. We call it "What You Rocking With," where we talk about what we vibing with, what we feeling, what we're just, like I said, what we're rocking with this particular week.
This is what you rockin' with inside the SNA Live podcast.
It's no introduction.
And we're back with our segment, "What You Rocking With," and let's see if Lee goes left again. This motherfucker always goes left and just talks about some shit that has nothing
Or
to
if
do
he
with-
stole somebody else's topic.
or that. He's good for that too.
Thief.
Don't hate because I'll be having a good idea. So
Leak, I'm gonna let you set it off, man. What you
I
rocking with
stayed
this
on
week?
topic. Got a little sentimental here because this topic was kind of something near and dear to my heart because I can relate to this. I'm rocking with Henry and Hattie Wynn, my grandparents.
Okay.
Who, yes, shouts out to them because if it wasn't for them, who knows where I would have been. Conway, you know, we grew up on the same block. We
Yes,
grew up
sir.
in a very
Ravine Ave, what up?
Ravine Ave was good, home of the brave.
Malik could have been another Latarian.
I could have been one of these dudes
Like to
sticking
do
us.
hood rat shit with my friends.
Exactly. Because dudes on our hood was not doing shit with their lives, man. You know what I mean? And,
Big time.
and my parents on top of my grandparents, if it wasn't for my grandparents, who knows where I would have been. They, fortunately, they did well for themselves. They were retired and they were able to
Help out. Assist.
out and assist my parents and keeping me out the streets.
That's
and
awesome.
Keeping me from being in jail or something. So again, just shout outs to them. You know, God bless the dead. You know, just
They did
again,
their
thank
job,
you.
though.
They
That's
did
how you
their
pay it
job.
forward.
Thank you. Love you. That's
By
it.
the way, Hattie, old school black.
Such
That
a down
is
south lady.
old
She's from
school.
South
Was
Carolina.
that Malik, that was the house we went to in Queens?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember you.
South
I remember.
Carolina, baby. South Ozone Park. What up? I grew up.
I remember
in
the
Queens,
house and
too.
everything.
I say Yonkers and Bronx, but I grew up in Queens also. I was in Queens pretty much every weekend again with my grandparents.
There you go.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, big up, man. Big ups.
Right, what you rocking with this week, brother?
So again, you know me, I'm always big on technology, right? So this week in particular, on the topic at hand with the access, my shout out for the week goes to kids that go above and beyond and will not let anything stop them from obtaining their dreams and goals. So this week I am shouting out Odisi Alexander, the first black female softball pitcher who pitched for James Madison University.
Yes.
Who taught herself.
She was doing her thing.
Hell yeah.
But here's the thing. We spoke about all the trainers and the costs.
Yeah.
This young lady taught herself how to pitch by watching YouTube videos.
That's
Holy
crazy.
Shit, I didn't know the story behind it. Nice.
She took the opportunity and
Go, girl.
taught herself off of YouTube videos.
And she was throwing heat.
She started
in those
all
games.
4 games of the championship series. She knocked off the number 1 Oklahoma team out of the series.
Yeah.
Again, this is a girl who taught herself off of YouTube.
It's crazy.
So big shout out to Odisi Alexander from James Madison University.
Yes.
That's out, man. Go, girl.
Yeah, it definitely needs some notoriety on that one because that was phenomenal what she did. So, Conway, what are you rocking with this week?
So this is, I don't know if this is fact yet. I think it's just rumor. But if the rumor's true, then definitely got to give a shout out. I'm rocking with Miss Tiffany Haddish with her fine ass.
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going with this.
The rumor is, I brought up Florence Griffith Joyner, aka FloJo, earlier. The rumor is that Tiffany Haddish is going to do a biopic, and Tiffany Haddish is going to be playing
FloJo.
Florence Griffith
Oh, that's
Joyner.
awesome. Man.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And she has the swag. She's from LA, just
Yeah.
like FloJo.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it'll be a really, really good look for her.
That's
if,
awesome.
If that's true.
That'd be crazy.
If it is true, that is dope.
Like, and if you know Tiffany Haddish's story, you know, she was homeless for a little while. She was like sleeping in cars and stuff like that.
She's in group homes. She grew up in group homes.
She was in group homes, exactly.
Another
She-
success story.
Yeah, exactly. She admitted that in some of the auditions that she would go to early in her career, she didn't get because she couldn't read as well as
the other
her
men.
counterparts,
Yeah.
because she would go to school sometimes, but it's tough going to school when you don't have clean clothes because you are homeless. You know what I'm saying?
no, it's true.
So just it's so funny. She's a sister that I obviously don't know in person, but when I see her and I see
feel
her
like you
doing
knew
her thing,
her.
I feel like I'm proud of her.
Yeah.
Or that too.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yo, she is doing her thing. So
Her swag reminds me though of people you knew up.
That you grew up with.
You grew up
Definitely,
with.
yeah.
Definitely.
Like that shit you would love to hang out with.
just the West
Yeah.
Coast
Yeah.
version, exactly.
Just a West Coast version, correct.
So if it's true, you know what the rumor is in terms of her doing that biopic, then I'm rocking with Miss Tiffany Haddish.
Yes, sir.
And just really quick, as a notable mention for what you're rocking with, I got to give a shout out to Deion Sanders for
Prime time.
stepping his name out and trying to bring more light to HBCUs,
yes.
especially in the sport of football, because sad to say, there's not a lot of representation of children coming, or because they're kids, coming out of college from HBCUs, and I don't think one kid from one HBCU got drafted in the past draft. So it's
You can't
still
tell me there's no talent there. You can't.
we're
tell
still
me.
coming. It's still a long way, a long ways.
We're
away.
coming up.
But here's the deal, though, and I'll say this quick for those who don't know. If you look at these big schools that bring these kids out in these drafts, they did a study. Like the kids that come out predominantly from the Alabamas, the Clemsons and stuff, yeah, they get drafted in the first round, but only like 16 or 17% of them stay in the league.
Yeah, they don't last
The
too long.
kids that get drafted from these small schools, not just yet, because I think HBCUs will be on the rise soon, but these small schools, like Chattanooga, like just small
Troy and
schools,
shit like that,
they're the ones that get drafted 4th, 5th, 6th round, signed as undrafted free agents, and they're the ones that last in the league longer than these number one picks.
Gotcha.
So again, you know, big shout out again just to Deion Sanders for putting his name out, trying to bring more light, because I think the tables will turn, but we need to invest more in our HBCUs when it comes to sports.
Definitely. And that brings us to the conclusion of this episode. We appreciate you joining us on this journey. As usual, you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on our YouTube page. You can find us on the One Institution media platform. You can find us on Castos.
Yes, you can.
We are everywhere. We're taking over. You thought we came to take part. Now, man, we came to take over.
Taking over.
So,
One podcast at a time.
and in the words of Miss Shirley Chisholm, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. We out.
Peace.
You have just listened to the SNA Live Experience. We want to thank you for tuning in with us. We'll be back with another episode.